Texas has become a closer state in the past decade. Texas is still a Republican state at heart, but has become closer as a state. But today we talk about Florida. Florida is one of the most populated states in America. Florida has more people than New York. Florida has more people than Illinois. These are two big Democrat areas. Most of the most populated states in the area are either swing states or Democrat states. But there is one state that is basically ending the trend of this, and that's Florida. As well. The other big state that is the next biggest state that is not Texas, the next big Republican state would be Ohio. And that state has become no longer the Democrats are not going to win Ohio anymore. There's no chance of them in Ohio. Okay, Democrats are becoming an endangered species in Ohio. Ohio is becoming a safe Republican state. But now we're going to talk about Florida. Florida is becoming the new Texas. It is becoming a new, massive, conservative bastion of America. This is a state, and it's not just, it's just going to be like a North Carolina or a win. No, Democrats will still lose by like 3-4 points each or X. And no, they're saying that the governor of Florida is likely going to win by 14 points. That's what scare Democrats, because the governor of Florida is likely going to win by 14 points. This is a state that used to be a swing state. This is a state that used to be a massive swing state, but no longer anymore. Florida has now basically become the new Ohio. The big, massive, Republican stronghold. This is pretty bad for the Democrats. This is the shift from the Democratic margin, and Florida has trended rightward in 2016. Florida has trended rightward in 2020, and it's expected to win 40 Republicans in 2020 and 2022. Another sign that Florida is leaving the Democratic Party is the fact that Florida, as a state, there's more Republicans now than Democrats in Florida. There used to be a massive Democrat voter advance in Florida, but no longer anymore. There are around over 300,000 more Republicans in Florida than there are Democrats, which means Florida is officially a red state in the country. Of course, Democrats could still possibly win it if they win independence, but that's very, very unlikely they will. Democrats struggle with independence currently as now in Florida as well. So, and why has Florida no longer became mostly a Democrat state? It is mostly due to the Cubans in places like Miami and the area. Cuban voters and Venezuelan voters do not vote for Democrats. They are the fastest trending away group from the Democrats in the country because of socialism. They do not want socialism in their state. And that's why Florida is going away for the Democrat. Okay. Yeah. This is a state that will likely be a deep red state in the future, going on for decades. This is a state that's gonna become the conservative bastion. Florida was won by Trump by 1.2 points in 2016. Was won by Trump by 4 points. Either Trump or DeSantis wins. If DeSantis runs in 2024, there's no chance Florida is gonna be a Democrat state. Even if Trump runs, Florida's going to be like 7 to 8 points for the Republican Party. Because of course, let's not forget the governor of Florida would most likely campaign for Donald Trump, boosting, because DeSantis is one of the most popular governors in the country. He is one of the most popular governors in the country, and this is why Florida is becoming a Republican state. And this is why Democrats are scared of people like Mastriano winning, Kelly Wake winning, of course, Tudor Dixon winning, because All it takes is one good governor and one good leader to change a state. This happened with Colorado. The Democrats basically legalized weed, and it has become a refuge for people who vote Democrat who want to smoke weed. And that's how basically Colorado has become. Colorado has become a blue state mostly because people want to smoke weed. Mostly because people want to smoke weed in Colorado. It used to be a Republican stronghold. And stuff like this changes all the time. Illinois used to be a red state, of course. It no longer is, but it used to be a Republican stronghold. California used to be a Republican stronghold. It no longer is anymore, but it used to be one of the most important states for Republican. And of course, the entire South used to be a Democrat stronghold. But now, we're seeing new states become Republican strongholds. And this is Florida. Florida used to be the swing state. It used to be the state that was the massive swing state like Ohio. Florida and Ohio were basically two states that decided who won the presidential election. But now both states are going away from the Democrats. Both states, Ohio and Florida, are going away. There is no chance Democrats are going to win back Ohio. No chance. And Florida is going along with them. And if the Republicans massively win in the midterms, you can expect a lot more states to join this column. Wisconsin, that's 10 electoral votes. Pennsylvania, that's 19. Michigan, that's around 15 electoral votes. And Arizona, that's around 10 electoral. I think Arizona's around 12 or 10 electoral votes. But yeah, that's around like 60 electoral votes going away from the Democrats. That's something that should scare the Democrats. If there are more governors that can transform a state and change the state away from the ideology of the state, which mostly are going to be swing states, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Arizona, and let's not forget Nevada. Nevada is another state that the Democrats are quickly losing as well. Well, the Democrats will have to gain places like Kansas to win. And yeah, they'll have to win in places like Kansas. They're going to have to try to flip Kansas again, but they're not going to flip the governorship of Kansas. But, so we have the Yatman site. So, these are all the safe Republican states. These are states that Republicans are probably guaranteed to win in elections. Okay, you can add Texas and Nebraska and Alaska as well. But now you can add Florida as well. North Carolina, that's a state that is... North Carolina is a Republican state. It's not a safe Republican state. Democrat can still win North Carolina, but even then, in a state like North Carolina, the Republicans are gaining in a state like North Carolina as well. But this will be pretty bad. Oh, Arizona's 11 electoral votes. If they flip Arizona, that's 11 votes. Wisconsin's probably guaranteed going to flip. That's another 10 electoral votes. If they flip Pennsylvania, well, the Democrats, of course, will lose. And then they flip Michigan, Republicans will get 290. And of course, if they flip Nevada as well, which means Republicans will have a safe 296 majority the electoral votes. This is a big problem for Democrats because they were hoping that, hey, well, demographics will make these states blue. Demographics will make Florida blue. Demographics will make Nevada blue. Demographics can make Arizona blue. But all it takes is one politician to change an entire culture of a state. Florida is also trained red because a lot of freedom-loving people, people who love freedom, and people who love America, people who love freedoms, are moving to Florida. That's another thing that's happening. It's not just old people moving to Florida anymore either. There's a lot of young people moving to Florida, mostly for the freedom. This is going to be a big problem because we're always trying to see, for example, births by state. Florida, with Texas, in 2021, what Florida and Texas in 2021 were the largest states to have the largest increases in live births per state. This is not good for the Democrats whatsoever, because Florida is not going to become a Democrat state anymore. It is going to become a Republican state. And Florida, which is a lot of old people as well, but now there's also a lot of young people moving to Florida. A lot of young people from mostly blue states, a lot of conservatives, mostly moving to Florida, because a lot of these people moving from these blue states into Florida are mostly conservatives. There's not many liberals among them. They're mostly conservatives being Democrat-run areas, Democrat-run cities, and Democrat-run counties, and Democrat-run states, so like Massachusetts, like New York, like California, and other states. And most of these are conservatives. It's the same thing with the state of Nevada, as well. But this is a problem. If the exodus continues, and it's mostly conservatives, of course, leaving, this is a pretty bad news for Democrats in Florida, because they will have lost the state forever. At least until the pendulum shifts again and something happens in Florida again. But Florida has now become a part of the safe Republican column. This is a state that has become a part of the safe Republican column. I don't think Florida is going to become. And Florida has 30 electoral votes. 30 electoral votes. That is huge. And I think that's the largest safe. And this is true. This would be the largest safe margin. The largest state to have a safe margin for Republicans. Okay. And let's just for Nevada and Wisconsin and Delaware as well. Two states that the Democrats are going to lose as well. So this is the future safe Republican states. Florida is now the new big state for Republicans. Florida is now the new state. Okay. Texas, the future of Texas is still uncertain because, yes, you have the trends in Rio Grande Valley, but you also have the trends in the cities. You know, Texas could very well become a state that is dominated by the cities, like Illinois and New York and California. But Florida, even its cities are turning Republican. Look at Florida's new map. This is a map. This is Florida's new map. It is basically became, which again, it's photo proof. But yeah, another thing is, in Florida, it is very likely that the state of Florida will pass California in population. And what the hell is this map? This is a map that was seriously passed in Florida. What the hell is this ugly ass map? This is an actual map they put out in Florida. I didn't even know this map. But Florida as a state is no longer a Democrat state. It is no longer a Democrat state. And you saw this with Colorado. Colorado used to be a Republican state. It used to be a Republican state. But it no longer is anymore. Colorado no longer is a Republican state. Okay, it is a Democrat state now. Same thing with Virginia. But now we're starting to see a bunch of states that are going to be now we're going to see the battle for the battleground states. Okay. Which are states like Arizona, Nevada, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. And of course, there is going to be new battleground states coming, like New Mexico, Delaware, Kansas. Yeah, Kansas. Probably will be battleground state, Oregon, New Hampshire, Maine. I think those are going to, and Minnesota. Those will be the new battleground states. I think those are going to be the new battleground states, obviously, as well. New Hampshire, Maine, Minnesota, maybe Virginia, New Mexico, and Oregon. I think could be the new battleground states. in the future. They're going to be the new battleground states of the 2030s. But Florida, as a state, is leaving the Democrat Party. It is going away, and it is never coming back for a while. It is a state that used to be a Democrat state. It used to be a swing state. I don't think it was Democrat state, but it used to be a swing state for the longest of times. Okay. Florida as a state used to be a swing state for the longest of times, like Ohio. Okay. Look at TargetSmart. Okay, that's a site that, tracks the early vote. Florida is every county in Florida has shifted to basically more Republican. Especially the big counties, like Duval, like Miami-Dade, like Hillsborough. I haven't looked at Orlando, but that one's likely to get a shift as well. Palm Beach is shifting. Lakewood as well. And you're going to see this happen in the Rio Grande. Also, similar, you're seeing this happen with the Rio Grande Valley. You see that the Democrats have lost Zapata County. And this wasn't just a one election cycle thing. They're losing the Hispanic vote. They're losing the Hispanic vote in Texas. They're losing it, especially in the Rio Grande Valley. Maybe not in the cities, but they're losing the Rio Grande Valley. This is a Democrat. It used to be the Democrat of Democratic areas, the most bluest of blue areas. But yesterday we looked at even places like El Paso. El Paso is trending 10 points to the Republican column, as people are sick of the border crisis and sick of the drugs and stuff coming over. People are getting sick of it. Okay, people getting sick of that stuff. But yeah, places like Zapata County are not really, Democrat strongholds anymore. They're not really Democrat strongholds anymore. Zapata and most of the Rio Grande Valley is trending towards the Republican, especially the lower half of the Rio Grande Valley, not lower parts, and of course the El Paso area as well. Well, so Democrats can continue attempting wokeness, but it's only wokeness, I think, is the thing that's destroying the Democratic Party. I think it's destroying the Democratic Party, and I don't think the Democratic Party can recover from losing a state like Florida. They can hold with temporary victories in Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Nevada in 2020, but all of those states are going towards the Republican Party, and Republicans will likely win the governorships of most of those states in the next couple as well, and they're likely going to win the Senate seats, and this is going to be pretty bad for Democrats in these states, because Arizona and Florida are two very similar states demographically. And if Kelly Lake is able to transform Arizona the way Ray DeSantis transformed Florida, there was no chance the Democrats are going to win in a state like Arizona again, just like Florida, which will be pretty hilarious to see.